Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather. So let's see what's happening because yesterday was Sunday. We had the slight risk, spots of Texas, and sorry, didn't do a video yesterday. There was a bunch of other stuff yesterday. So, but let's see today, Monday, that today's an enhanced risk, spots of Texas. So let's see Texas into southeastern New Mexico and this slight risk around it as well. There's this slight risk also on the mid-Atlantic, spots of the Midwest, into Ohio, in Virginia, spots of North Carolina, and Maryland and West Virginia. So be careful, a marginal in Florida and a marginal in the Dakotas as well. So here there's like wind 5% in all the areas and 15%, and there's like this hatched area in Texas for potentially some hurricane force winds. So please be careful with those storms. There's hail, 30% hatched in Texas, so and New Mexico as well. So please be careful. Some very large hail, if even more than 2 inches possible, spots of Texas there in New Mexico. So be careful those storms. There's the 5% around as well, and two areas of 15% down the east. So be careful of the hail. There's tornado threat, 5% in Florida, 2% in Florida, and 5% in Texas, New Mexico. So be careful, 2% in all the spots, Central Texas, and just a 2% in Florida. So be careful, especially those areas of Western Texas into Southeastern New Mexico, that 5%. So let's see. Severe thunderstorms are expected across eastern New Mexico, west central Texas this afternoon into tonight. Scattered large to very large hail, severe wind gusts are the primary threats, though a couple of tornadoes are also possible. Additional strong to severe storms are possible across the eastern Florida Peninsula and mid-Atlantic states, upper Ohio Valley. So please be careful those areas and stay safe. There's here the significant tornado parameter. Let's see if it shows something for this afternoon. So it does show slightly higher spots of Texas, a little bit like 1.5, 2, and shows more there's not really in Florida, but like just like less than one. So be aware those areas later in the evening does show around 0 Z. It grows in Texas and does show spots to like 3.6 and even more, some more near Texas and New Mexico. So please stay safe in those areas. There's slightly later in the evening, grows even more in Texas into northern Mexico. So even shows like spots in northern Mexico into western Texas, very high in those areas. So be careful. This goes later in the evening, still shows during the night higher spots of Texas into Mexico, even like 7.7 in western Texas. So please stay safe in those areas. Be careful. There's like later, a little bit later in the night, still high. Be careful in those areas of northern Mexico if you are there as well. So this goes and later by Monday, by Tuesday, today's Monday, so later on Tuesday still shows a finger or two, but yeah, so be careful because there'll still be some tornado threat tomorrow. So shows here the updraft, at least the full run, the probability for those rotating updrafts for severe wind and hail. So does show like spots of southeastern New Mexico, some, especially western Texas, right near Mexico, those areas of western Texas there. So that's the most critical area to watch. So please stay safe, be careful to damaging winds and everything. Shows the mid-Atlantic, more in Ohio, some more storms, some spots there. We're right across eastern Florida on the coast, shows some stronger ones, and like a storm or two in North Dakota, South Dakota, but nothing crazy. So be careful. Those areas does show here those storms. Like, let's zoom in better into Texas. So already shows storms across Texas, Oklahoma, those areas, especially later in the evening. The HER has these ones around western Texas, including northern Mexico and into southeastern New Mexico, and more spots there. So these ones will be the real threat, especially this one in Western Texas. Might have some very large hail. You can see those whites there. So please stay safe. This goes still shows tomorrow, Tuesday, spots of Eastern Texas. Some strong ones, more in Oklahoma too. Some heavy rain. By tomorrow evening, still some stronger storms and the heavy rain. So please be careful there. There's southeast shows some in Florida there, especially this afternoon. Southeastern Florida, some stronger cells, some lightning, and even some small hail, some damaging winds. There's the 2% tornado threat there as well. So stay safe. There's northeast. Those like some storms in Ohio, West Virginia, spots there. This goes and some stronger ones in Virginia to Pennsylvania as well. This goes and still shows some tomorrow, especially tomorrow in New York, shows some more spots of New Jersey as well. So stay safe, especially the slight risk this afternoon. Even shows some in Southern Ontario, so be aware. And then here shows like there's the Cape too, shows more spots of Western Texas, a little bit into New Mexico, but shows most Cape in southwestern and Western Texas, even to like 2,500, 2,000 joules per kilogram. Shows some in the Northeast, some spots with more to help those storms in Florida, just a lot. So be careful, and still shows some very big Cape tomorrow, still in Texas. So stay safe in those areas. Just a quick update here, they just extended the enhanced risk down to the Mexico border, so for those storms I showed you there. So be careful, they added a slight risk for Florida now. So please be careful in those areas, they just updated this. And sorry if the audio is a little bit weird in the video today, but I hope it's working well. So here, let's see if the tornado threat changed. 2% in those spots of the mid-Atlantic as well. There's wind. So I think it increased, no, it's still the same in Florida, 2%, but hail, for them to have added a slight risk there, yeah, more hail spots of Florida and very huge in Texas, so please be careful, bye now, let's continue here. So there's day 2, still shows here a slight risk across Texas and Louisiana for day 2 for Tuesday. So shows this margin across Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas, spots of Louisiana. There's this slight risk eastern Texas and Louisiana. So be careful in those areas. There's also this margin across New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. There's wind threat also in Texas and Louisiana, even to Oklahoma and Arkansas, a 15% wind Texas and Louisiana, and a 5%, also 5% wind in the Northeast. So be careful. And hail still shows the biggest threat, some 10%, 5%, 15%, sorry, 15% hail, and this had still for some very big hail, including Houston and Austin and other spots. So please stay safe, be careful. The 5% and also some 5% hail in the Northeast. So be careful. Severe thunderstorms are possible from parts of the southern plains to the lower Mississippi Valley. On Tuesday, severe winds, large, very large hail, and a few tornadoes are possible. Additional isolated strong severe storms are possible, large hail and the damaging winds in parts of the northern mid-Atlantic states as well. So be careful. Those areas, they're still here for day 3. Nothing really crazy, less than 5%, but still storm or two. So beware, day 4 through 8, still nothing. There's the elevated fire threat as well, probably in portions of the Southwest, in Western Texas, and also North Dakota and Minnesota, the elevated fire threat. So be careful. Those areas does show here the yellow, the severe storms, and the red, the chances for flash flooding, and also some snow, the rocky steel. Day 2, big flash flooding, and some yellow, the severe storms. Day 3, some flash flooding, and more storms in general. So be careful. There's still like Day 1 through 7 shows upwards of 7 inches in Louisiana, Mississippi, and even across Georgia and Florida, more than 4 inches. But especially those areas of eastern Texas and all the way to Mississippi and Arkansas, Louisiana, please be careful. Some big time flooding. Day 1 through 5, just 5 days, already shows 7 inches, just 5 days. In 3 days, already 5 inches. And 2 days already 4 inches. So please stay safe. Day 1, mostly Texas and New Mexico, and more spots of the west as well. Day 2, very heavy Louisiana, East Texas and Arkansas into Mississippi. Day 3 shows still southern Louisiana, very heavy. Day 4 more scattered across the southeast. Day 5 southeast, day 6 southeast, day 7 southeast, especially Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. So be careful in those areas. This can cause a lot of flooding. There's still like excessive rainfall, shows like a slight risk across spots of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut, Massachusetts. So be careful there too. There's this marginal risk and this big slight risk across Texas and New Mexico into Colorado for excessive rainfall in this margin on the southwest. Day 2, a moderate risk of excessive rainfall in spots of Louisiana, Mississippi, into southeastern Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas. So please stay safe. There can be some real flash flooding. Turn around, don't drown, be careful. There's day 3, a slight risk in Louisiana, Mississippi, still in East Texas, and a marginal. Day 4, a marginal in the south, and day 5 in the southeast, a marginal. So please stay safe. Be careful that rain. And let's see if there's something else. Shows like there's the European model too. And it doesn't show as much as the National Weather Service, but does show a lot as well. So let's see if there's any snow here. So still shows the Rockies some, the GFS in Colorado, spots there, New Mexico too, more there, even more than 10 inches in some mountain spots. There's the Europeans quite a lot there. Shows even to like, let's see if we can switch this to like some 29 inches next 5 days, some 31 inches. So please be careful. A finger two in Arizona, in Utah, some 6 inches, 5 inches, and some more in Wyoming, some 5 inches. Spots of Montana, 10, 8 inches in Wyoming. Still shows a little bit. In New Mexico, like northern New Mexico, still shows to like 28 inches. The GFS just 11 inches. The Icon just 9 inches, but it does have some 17 inches in some spots, the Icon. So be careful. That snow shows spots of Quebec, still more snow across eastern Canada. So let's switch this again here. Some 17 centimeters, 13 centimeters. Spots of eastern Quebec and Labrador, some 37 centimeters. Shows some across northern Ontario. There's some spots there. More spots of like northwestern territories into Yukon. It still shows above 42 centimeters more in northwestern territories, all the way into Nunavut, some 18 centimeters, 14 centimeters, shows more spots of western Yukon into northeastern British Columbia, northwestern British Columbia, and some in eastern British Columbia and Alberta in the mountains, and more those western mountains there in British Columbia, northern areas. So be careful. That snow too still shows like those colder temperatures northern Canada, those negative temperatures, and slightly warmer ahead of that front there. So this goes Monday, Tuesday, as still warmer. Like this afternoon in Ontario shows even to 27 degrees, but tonight again dips below zero, spots of northern Ontario, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, and Manitoba especially, and Nunavut is still to -17, like in the mountains, British Columbia and Alberta is still cold, northern British Columbia, and still Yukon, northwestern territories, very cold, and eastern Quebec shows colder too. This goes still warmer some days in southern Canada, Florida, but maybe like after Thursday, the southeast might get slightly colder during the night. Still during the day, like Saskatchewan to 27 Thursday afternoon, but still shows cold Friday morning. Further east, spots of Canada, and more cold in the north and western mountains there. So be careful those areas. And yeah, stay safe. In the US, it's mainly in Texas and Florida. In the A is even close to 90 in the valleys of California, and still some 70 spots of the north as well. And in Florida, close to 90. So be careful, but during the night still shows in the Rockies some teens, 20s, spots of Colorado, Wyoming, and Idaho, the Sierra Nevada, even New Mexico and Arizona. So be careful. This goes still warmer Tuesday afternoon, even to 98 in southern Texas, according to this model, because this might change. And then still shows the mountains. This goes Wednesday morning. Still might be colder in the Rockies, some 20s, 30s, even teens, and more northern mountains. The Northeast is kind of milder, some 40s, 50s, but the West still a little bit colder. But does show during the day in Central California Valley, some is spots to the south as well. So this goes Wednesday, Thursday, and kind of remains like this. Just Thursday morning shows northern Wisconsin into Michigan, probably some 30s, and the Rockies still northern Washington, still in the Cascades. So Thursday, Friday, kind of warmer in the plains, but this goes, it might get hotter in the southwest next weekend. So that show even to 100 next Sunday, possibly in the southwest, but once again in the northwest by next Monday shows kind of colder again. And then Monday, this goes kind of warmer in the plains in the next week. So yeah, stay safe, be aware those areas. There's here again, like the European model shows still kind of this omega block of those two low pressure systems that, if you think about it, kind of forms like a W shape or omega in Greek, and that high pressure in the middle. So it's because of that. But this goes, it has a trough next week in the northwest, those colder temperatures, and we are still watching for stuffy weather later this month. So let's search here for something about the storm. So because this updated yesterday and still shows week 2 and week 3, some higher signals in the plains for some potential severe weather still. So we will be watching this, but yeah, be careful in those areas. But the main thing today, be careful the storms, have ways to receive warnings and everything, and stay safe.